Hi, my name is Abdul Adil Kazlin Satta. So today I'll be describing about my project that's rainwater harvesting in residential complexes. So it's one of the most upcoming popular practices that we follow nowadays. And you all know that we are facing a huge water scarcity problems nowadays, and which is very difficult for the upcoming generations so that for harvesting the rainwater can reduce the water scarcity problem to a certain amount of limit. So today on my slide I will be sharing few information, and my project is about the rainwater harvesting. And as I said, the water scarcity, it's one of the major problem that we are facing in today's society, and as well as in urban areas. When it comes to urban areas, cities, and water problem is everywhere. Like fresh water is hardly very difficult to find, and we have, so that to reduce these sort of problem, we have to like implement some practices so that these we can save somewhat water for our future and reduce the scarcity problem, and there will be some availability of fresh water. So one of the practices like harvesting the rainwater. So when it comes to harvesting the rainwater, it can be practiced in the residential, in commercial areas, in educational institutions, and in every way. Taking the collecting the rainwater and saving it for and reusing the rainwater and saving it for the later uses. It can be very useful, and it's one of the good sustainable way of saving the future from the water scarcity. And it can the setup can be like it can be set up in residential complexes itself. Like in residential we can set up the rainwater harvesting technology and systems so that we can do the harvesting in residential complex itself, and we can use these sort of water for like gardening, for cleaning, for toilet flushing, and every way which is not which way we don't require the fresh water. So it can be implemented there and it will be so useful there. And this project, my project mainly aims for like aims to reduce the municipal freshwater extraction and the carbon associated with the centralized treatment and distribution. And it also aims like to improve the social community. Like we can form like a group in social, and we can we can implement these practices so that it reaches to many people, and many of them will be aware of these practices. And the description of its main description of this project comes like reusing the rainwater, like as I said before, like for not potable uses such as toilet flushing, irrigation, cleaning. And for the primary beneficiaries are like homeowners, associate, and facility managers who can improve water security. And it can also be used for curing the construction works and every way so that it will reduce the water scarcity for certain amount of limit, and fresh water can be used for like drinking and other sort of, which is very essential purpose. So when it comes to stakeholder, there are many stakeholders in this project. You know that the initial setting up cost will be so high, and there will be many stakeholders who will be directly involved in this project and indirectly involved in this project. Like the project, like for example, like project owner, they are internally involved in this whole project, and they are high people of high interest, and they are directly involved in this project. And when it comes to residents, they're not directly involved. They are directly involved, but they are not, they're external, like they are not involved in the project, they are external actually. And when it comes to property developers who are internal, and some of the external authorities are like municipal water authorities, then the environmental regulatory agencies, and suppliers of tanks and filtration units. These are the guys who are involved external for this project. And there are some community groups who are involved in external of this project, and there is local government who is involved in, or city council who is involved in the project. They are internal. So and their interests are of like different triggers, like medium, high, low risk, and sort of. And the financial institutions are also externally, even though they are externally involved, they provide many interest, and they are very crucial in it, because for the ongoing of project and for the development of the project, they are very important people. And when it comes to the financial things, the initial setting up of these is very high. For initial setup, we required high turnover, high valuation, everything. Even though eventually we will be able to make the profit, but initial setting up cost is very high. But in future, for the long term, it will benefited. It will be benefited and will be getting in the returns. This slide shows the different year the financial is calculated, and as we can see overview, initial setting up is so high and eventually we are making up the profit. Now when it comes to supplier metrics, they evaluate quality, ethics, and carbon footprints, diversity, innovation, and to select compounds of tanks, filters, and pipings. So when it comes to here, we'll be looking upon different suppliers, different their criterias, and the quality of materials they provide and everything. So that indicates the supplier matrix. And as the project progresses, there is equally risk is involved in this project, and there are many types of risk which will be involved in the progression of the project, like environmental risk, regulation, financial risk, technical risk, and social risk, public safety. As we take one example, like environmental risk, so it's like low. Environmental risk is so low as this project is not impacting environment in high basis, but it's very low. But still we can reduce the low environmental risk, such like using the materials which can be reused and which are natural and which can break down easily and safely, so that it doesn't harms any environment. And another social, like when it comes to financial risk, financial risk is a medium sort of risk, and it can be like used like fixed budgeting should be done properly, otherwise there will be a high chance of financial risk. So when it comes to budgeting and the cost of the project, it involves the financial risk. And there are many sort of risks like social risk and community risk, etc. So now I conclude my slideshow, and has this overview of this project is that harvesting the rainwater and reusing for the many purposes which can be sustainable, which is sustainable, and it always is a greener path for the future, and it also saves the water scarcity which will be facing in the future, and it reduces the usage of fresh water, where fresh water will be easily available for the upcoming generations and upcoming future generations. Thank you very much. That will be the end of my lecture.